Hi, I'm Todd Heitkamp, the owner of Dakota Angler here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, with this week's 2-minute fishing report. Well, folks, I'm sorry to say that the tough bite has continued this past week, but guys that put in their time and a lot of time on the ice come away with a few fish here and there, but it really depended on the day. Some of the lakes that produced walleyes up in the northeastern part of the state, Bitter did fairly well, especially late at night during the overnight hours. And then also Wabe, a few fish there. Enemy Swim, Big Stone, Dry Lake by Clark, also Dry Lake by Florence produced a few walleyes, as well as Indian Springs, and emphasize a few there. And then also Swan and Pickerel. Down in the southeastern part of the state, the lakes that produced a few walleyes included 81 Ponds, East Oakwood, Ponset, Dry Lake by Willow Lake, Thompson, Whitewood, Sinai, Madison, Clear Lake, as well as Island, Brant, and Beaver produced a few walleyes as well. Now, what have guys been using to catch those walleyes? It's been a big trick. It's a little bit of everything, almost a kitchen sink. But it seems like, again, the continuing saga of whatever rattle seems to be doing the trick. But a lot of guys are doing well on the slab wraps by Rapala, also by the Acme. The hyper rattles have been working well this past week. The ripping wraps continue to do really well. And then also the traditional buckshot rattle spoons by Northland. And then the Lindy Rattling Flyer has been producing some nice walleyes. As far as the perch bite is concerned, that has been on and off again, depending on the day and depending where you're at. But lakes that produced perch this past week included Bitter, Wabe, North Hazelton, Ponset, Whitewood, also Thompson, Big Stone, Fish Lake, Wall Lake, as well as Beaver, and emphasize a few perch there. As far as the crappie bite is concerned, a few lakes produced a few crappies, and that's Ponset, Thompson, Pickerel, as well as Alvin. And Alvin, quite honestly, has been doing quite well out there for crappie. And then Bluegill, Alvin, Enemy Swim, Buffalo, Henry, as well as Big Stone. Now, what have guys been using to catch those panfish? Whether or not we're talking crappie, perch, bluegill. Bluegill has been really small tungsten jigs, but then otherwise he has small jigs by Slender Spoons, as well as Tingler Spoons, and then also Tumbler Spoons by VMC has been working really well. And then also the Nils Master Tungsten Jig. What's unique about that is that it has a treble hook. One of the only jigs, tungsten jigs, that have a treble hook on it. So your hook set ratio to catch ratio is much higher with that treble hook. You can load that up with waxworms and maggots, and really has been doing the trick. So the Tungsten Jig by Nils Master with the treble hook. Well, folks, in this week's version of Todd's Tackle Tips, we're going to talk about that finicky bite that's been taking place all year this season. A lot of people have been asking me what's going on, and folks, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. The first one is, I think, the weather. You've heard me talk about it many times before, that how the weather affects the fishing, and this year, especially this winter, we've been hit with a front almost every other day or every third day, and anytime that high pressure builds in, obviously that diminishes the bite. And so you really need to go around looking for those active fish or slow down that presentation. The second thing that has affected the bite this year, I think, has been the clear water. Folks, it's probably the clearest water I've seen around here in an awfully long time, and on a consistent basis from lake to lake. And so that's why a lot of times the day bite hasn't been as good as the late afternoon or evening or overnight bite, especially for the walleyes. And then the other thing is the amount of motion or the action on the ice itself, the commotion that's out there. A lot of these bigger fish have been found in the shallow water, so any type of traffic on that ice will spook those fish dramatically. And so how can we actually overcome all three of these factors? And I think that's, again, to be a little bit more flexible. Go looking for those more active fish, downsize your presentation, and that's why a lot of times also the dead sticks have worked really well underneath a bobber. That you're not doing anything, no jigging, anything like that, so it doesn't spook the fish, and you let the fish take it when they want to. So that's why the dead sticks worked really well. And the other thing that you can do is use tip-ups to your advantage. Place them around the area in deeper or shallower waters, follow that structure, but again, that will help you find those more active fish. Now it's time to take a look at a few photos that you sent in to me this past week. And remember, folks, if you'd like your photo included in next week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report, please send it to me. Send it to todd@dakotaangler.com or post it to our Facebook wall. And if I use your photo, your name will be entered into a monthly drawing for a $25 gift certificate. And folks, before we end this report, I want to bring you up to date on a couple of things. Remember, folks, if you're looking for shacks, electronics, augers, clothing, they're on sale right here at the store. Give us a call at 605-336-9132 on some of the great deals that we have on everything that is remaining. Some of the clothes are anywhere from 20 to 25% off. Shacks, 20% off. You're not going to find deals anyplace else like that. So again, before it's too late, if you're looking for something like that, stop on by the store or give us a call. Also, I want to let you know that one thing that we're going to be doing over the next 30 days is going to be changing our website at DakotaAngler.com. We're going to make it more modern. We're going to update the shopping experience online as well. So be aware that changes may be coming. So if you see a little bit of interruption, that's what's going on. But also remember, folks, if you need maggots or waxworms, don't hesitate to order them online at DakotaAngler.com, and we'll ship them out to you the next day. Well, folks, that's this week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report. For Dakota Angler, I'm the owner, Todd Heitkamp, and as we say around here, fish on! We'll see you next time, and again, thanks for watching.